The number of used cars listed for sale has increased by 21% over the last 3 months. The amount of people searching for cars has increased by 55%. Now, this begs the question, is the South African used car economy returning to normal? Today, we are joined by motor industry expert and CEO of AutoTrader, Mienie, to understand the supply and demand activity going on in the South African automotive sector. George, a pleasure to have you on the program.
Afternoon, Nhlanhla, thank you for having me.
So used vehicle sales have been on a steady climb in South Africa. Is the used car market showing signs of recovery?
The answer to that is yes and no. Consumer attention and supply indicates that consumers are definitely buying cars as a whole, but stealing from new cars, which is declining by a rate of about 30% year on year. So South Africans have to drive cars because we're a big country. We don't have public transport infrastructure the way the UK and America does, and the consumer's attention has definitely shifted towards used cars, and we're also seeing a supply increase of 21%. But in saying that, the supply levels have only now hit pre-lockdown levels. So the new normal from pre-lockdown to now has just come upon us. So it remains to be seen as to whether those supply and demand levels continue to increase.
So as the prices of new cars continue to rise, it's expected that more consumers will opt for the second-hand car market to find the perfect vehicle for their personal needs. What are the trends that you are seeing under Level 2?
One of the most significant changes in Level 2 has been the price category, or the searches in the different price categories. Historically, SUVs as a body type has been South Africa's most searched for vehicle locally and then also globally. But since lockdown, the trend seems to have switched to double cabs and buckies. Search trends in August revealed to us that the consumers are willing to spend also 50,000 Rand more for a hatchback than an SUV, and this might be as a result of the lower running costs of a hatchback versus an SUV. More recently, single cab search seems to be the fastest growing body type segment, with overall numbers significantly smaller, however, than double cabs. South African consumers seem to opt for double cabs, perhaps because it's a very versatile vehicle, a workhorse as well as a weekend family car.
So your report is especially useful, during turbulent trading conditions. Do you anticipate any major changes in supply and demand of used cars under Level 1?
Well, we've been looking for indications of that for the last couple of months, and it hasn't happened. We've seen demand surge month on month on month, and we've seen growth of anywhere between 49 to 60% year on year in every single month. We saw signs of slowing in demand at the beginning of September, but a couple of days into September, the demand curve started to rise again and grow even further. So the tough economic conditions have caused consumers to switch from new to used. And on the supply side, on the other hand, we're seeing more and more people selling their cars, especially privately, obviously to get more bang for their buck and try and get more money out of the car as they sell it. Supply is available, or availability, should I say, is what people list on AutoTrader, and people are going for slightly cheaper cars as the pandemic has caused the economic situation in the country to get worse.
Mr. Mienie, let's change gears a bit. Buying a pre-owned vehicle is a great option when shopping on a budget, but what precautions does the buyer need to take into account?
My advice on that is first of all, spend what you can afford. Often people spend more than they can afford because cars and houses are lifestyle things. So first of all, spend what you can afford, because these COVID conditions, and especially the economic conditions we find ourselves in, it means that we've got to all tighten our belts and know what type of car matches your lifestyle and your budget, because there's many options out there. Stick to reputable dealers. you don't want to buy a lemon, and you want to buy from a seller that is reputable, and then keep maintenance and running costs in mind, because oftentimes a used car has a shorter service plan or less service plan available, and the warranty window is also shorter because some of that warranty would have already expired. Another thing to consider is buy an extended warranty. Those are available. There are many extended warranties out in the marketplace. And then I suppose, take somebody knowledgeable with you when you're going to view a car. And I can't overemphasize check, and do more checks.
Let's expand on that a bit. While used car prices can be friendlier on your pocket, some pre-owned vehicles might have mechanical gremlins and body damages that are undisclosed by the seller. How does one conduct research on a pre-owned car dealership to ensure that they get a good deal?
Well, I think there's three things to consider there. First of all, do electronic vehicle checks. There's one on AutoTrader on vehiclecheck.co.za, which confirms that the make, model, color, etc. of the car is accurate according to the records of what you're seeing. Make sure again that you buy from a reputable seller or a dealer. And then there's one thing that is important, is do a DECRA check. DECRA is a very, very good way to check the external bodywork for accident damage. They do a physical check. They also run electronic diagnostics and physical diagnostics that can tell you things about the car and about a little bit about its history, as well as identify things like oil leaks. And if you do your homework, you shouldn't have to be settled with a lemon.
So you speak about doing your homework. There are also other questions that the buyer could consider. I'll go through a few. So it's how to research the actual value of the used car. You touched on the second one a bit, how to research vehicle running costs in South Africa. But how to check if the used car isn't stolen? How do I go about ensuring that I'm protected as the buyer?
It's an interesting question, but it's probably not well known that you can actually call up the licensing department. If you call up the licensing department and you give them the VIN number of the car, they're obviously not going to give you the details of the owner of the car and other details, but they can confirm whether the car is new, used, stolen, or even rebuilt. So if you give the local licensing department a call with the VIN number, they can give you some indication of what that car's status is, and definitely whether the car is being marked as stolen or not.